Ugh,
What's going on, everybody?
what's
Back with
going
another
on?
episode of the Niners 585, the 585 Niner Gang podcast. Excuse me. That's how distracted I am right now. We're literally about to go live, and we just got the news that Debo Samuel is hurt and is going to miss a couple weeks with a calf strain. Um, you
Sucks.
know, we talked about this, and I talked about this with other people, but we talked right ad nauseum about the vibes of this season, just based on like the Super Bowl loss and the late signings and all that other stuff. That just had a feeling that this could be one of those kind of years. And not even 2 weeks into the season, and there's all sorts of stuff going wrong. Um, Now I'm not willing to give up on the season and say that this is a lost season, but it's definitely the vibes are not heading in the right direction. Like I said, we were just me and you were just I was looking at Twitter just right before I came on here after you told me that Debo's going to miss some time, and we're already down to McCaffrey, and yesterday was not the best offensive showing, even with Debo on the field. So I guess we'll just kind of hit all. We'll just kind of touch on right now just the overall feeling, how you're feeling, James, because I'm not feeling too great about this team at the moment. Not saying that can change, but this has the makings of a 2020 kind of season so far. Maybe it changes. I don't know.
Yeah, it's only been 2 games. We got to remember that. But yeah, so far the injuries are killing us. Debo and then McCaffrey, I thought was only going to be 4 weeks. Now he's 6 weeks, and I'm starting to get worried that McCaffrey might miss most of the season because here's the thing. He has Achilles tendonitis, which is not something that just goes away. You really have to do a lot of therapy, and you have to stay off your leg. Tendonitis is not something simple like a strain or something like that. So the main thing I'm worried about with our team, play wise, is the red zone. Red zone looked horrible in that last game. Purdy could not get the ball out to an open wide receiver in the red zone, and then he got that one pass to Ayuk, but it was out of bounds. And so we got to figure that out because McCaffrey was our huge red zone guy. I mean, you knew we were going to get a touchdown with McCaffrey in the red zone. So now that Debo's out too, which is our other pretty good red zone guy, Ayuk's going to have to step it up. He took weeks off because he wanted the money. It's really affecting him, and you can see it. So he's going to have to step it up. Him and Kittle. Kittle did great, I think, the last game. He caught everything that was thrown at him. I think Kittle's going to have to step it up even more. Juwan Jennings definitely has been doing good. And maybe even Cowing. We'll see if Cowing has to step it up too. A lot of people are going to have to get better. But the season's not over yet. It's only the
Yeah,
second
Tyler's already
game.
given up, but that's okay. Seeing what
So,
Jefferson did yesterday makes me
yeah,
sick that we paid
yeah.
Ayuk. Yeah, yeah. There was a lot of feelings going through my head yesterday. I think the main thing to take away is we're going into a game with the Rams, who are just as hurt.
Uh-huh.
They're missing Puka Nakua, and they're going to miss Cooper Cup for a while. So I feel like with that, at least the next game, we're going in kind of equal to the
Yeah.
team we're playing. So it's just a matter of who wants it more, and if the Niners can figure out a way to get the ugly taste of yesterday's game out of our mouth. Some, I mean, we still have Jawan Jennings, we still have Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. Like you said, Cowing. Hopefully, the rookie can come in and do something. I mean, he didn't look too great on kickoff coverage or punt coverage or whatever that was.
No.
But there's that, and then there was also, it's supposed to be a couple weeks. I mean, at some point during these first 6 weeks of the season, we might get Ricky Parasol back too. So there's going to be some opportunities for some people to step up and give us at least a fighting chance. Nobody's feeling sorry for the 49ers though. Not
No.
a team. There's nobody
No.
feeling sorry for us. Nobody cares. So it is what it is. I just think it's funny because like every off season, these guys post these videos of them working out and doing all this stuff, and all I could think of is like it doesn't really matter because certain players get hurt all the time, and Debo is one of those guys. And sure enough, like he posts these videos of him running or cutting or doing weightlifting or doing all this other stuff, and yet he's one guy as good as he is who's always dinged. So I'm not really surprised because it's Debo. Debo gets hurt like all the time.
Yeah.
So he's missing time throughout the time that he's been here. That's the way he plays. He plays a physical brand of ball, and that in turn makes him a target to get rolled up on and hit in his extremities and all that stuff. So I'm not really surprised that the way things are going so far. It's not the end of the road though. It's not the end of the season. It's 2 games in. I feel like the NFC could be wide open this year. To be honest with you, so it's to me the Niners need to tread water and then see where that takes them because I feel like this is going to be one of those seasons where like they're going to be fighting for their life to make the playoffs and do a bunch of things. So it's just a matter of them treading water. Like it seems like it could be a wide open NFC. It could be a bunch of teams fighting for the top spot. But like I said, it's 1 week or 2 weeks. So, but it's just like I'm not surprised. I'm not
Yeah.
surprised at all that he's hurt. To be honest with you, it just
Yeah,
goes with everything that's been going on.
it just sucks though because I said before the season started that I thought Debo was going to do really good this season, and he has in these last 2 games. He had 8 receptions for 110 yards the last game. He's been our number one receiver so far. So I think it really sucks that we lost him because I really think he is going to have a good season because we're not just using him as a halfback this year. He's really more of a receiver. I mean, the first game we used him halfback a little bit, here and there. The last game we didn't really see that. But yeah, I hope it's only 2 weeks because I really would love to see Debo with a full season one year. I think that guy, if he was in for a full season, I think he'd have 1,200 yards receiving. He would be up there with the top guys, but he's never healthy the whole season. And yeah, it's because his play style.
Zing Dad thinks this is going to be an injury-filled season. He says injury and age. We're going 7-10.
Can't
Nothing's
give
out of the
up that
realm.
fast.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm
Can't
not
give up
giving up
that fast.
yet. I know a lot of people are giving up. You guys, they call us the faithful for a reason. So we gotta stand true on that name. But I understand just that overall feeling of like, we didn't get the job done this last season, and it's just the season is shaping up to be what a lot of us have thought it could be, which is like a missed opportunity, and then guys are going to get hurt because we were relatively healthy last year. We were relatively healthy going into the Super Bowl. We didn't have a ton of big injuries on this team, and it's hard to replicate that. Another year older, another year, getting beat on, your body getting punished. So this isn't out of the realm of possibilities of what's happening right now. So to me, it's just sad because you know, we get so ready for the season and we get so wrapped up in everything that's going on in the off season. And then for the season to start kind of the way it's starting and kind of trending a certain way, it's like, wow, this could be a really wasteful year. But we don't know that yet. I'm not willing to give up. If anything, I've learned after the Super Bowl to kind of watch one game at a time and kind of just let it be that its own solo experience, especially if we're going to have a tough kind of year because we really have no idea exactly what kind of year we're going to have. It's trending in a bad place, but we still don't know. Like I said before, it seems like it's going to be a wide open NFC this year. Just personally, from what I'm watching, I mean Dallas looked okay 1 week and they got crushed last week or this past week. So I mean the Niners, as bad as they played yesterday, James, they still almost had a chance if they could drive and get a touchdown, win the game. So
Oh yeah, yeah. If
they
we
were what they
stop
were
them,
one. Yeah.
yeah, if we stop them at what was it? Right after half was 13-7, and later on, I think it was, what was it, 20
They
to
were up 20.
17?
They were up 23-17. If we could have got a score, we could have won
Yeah.
24-23. So
Yeah, and it was 20-14 at one point, I think, or something like that. And we were supposed to, we stopped them, and we had to drive, and we got stopped, and that's really where it was like, damn, like, or no, they scored. That's what it was. They got the field goal, and that really screwed us up, that 23-14, and then we got a field goal, but it was just our defense was not there. Um, but here's the thing. Here's some hope for everybody. I saw this stat, and I was like, wow, okay. So we are 0-9 in our last 9 games at Minnesota. So people, we're just cursed, okay, when it comes to Minnesota. Don't worry. It's just there's always a kryptonite to every quarterback, and that kryptonite is Minnesota. So um, whatever. We lost to them. Let's move on. Whatever.
still got a long season to go.
Yeah.
Brock had a reasonable game. It's not like he didn't play bad.
No.
He was 28 of 36, 319 yards, one touchdown, one interception. And his QB rating was 101. So he didn't play what you considered a porous game. He had two turnovers. One was a fumble out of his hand, but he made some big throws in this game.
Yeah.
They couldn't get into the end zone for whatever reason. They were full. They had the full complement of guys on offense playing in this game. So it wasn't like they didn't have uh, enough people on there. The Vikings, for whatever reason, some teams you do not match up well with, like us and the Chiefs or us in Minnesota apparently, and it showed. Their scheme, the way that they run their scheme. Even Brock said it at the end of the game. If you see the
Yeah.
clip, he
Yeah.
said your guy's scheme or whatever is amazing
It's
or something.
crazy.
So
It's crazy. Yeah.
yeah, I mean they just played really good on defense. Got to give some credit to the Minnesota Vikings too. It's not all the 49ers. They get paid to play too, but the fact of the matter is, uh, with this latest news that I got going across the bottom of the screen with Debo to miss a couple weeks, things are going to get serious real quick, and the Niners have to find a way to bring their level of play up to a guy like Fred Warner, because Fred Warner played out of his mind yesterday, and I don't think a lot of the other players played at that
Unbelievable.
same level. I find it weird that that Bosa says that it was a wake up call. Like, how do you need a wake up call in week 2 of the NFL? Like,
Uh,
that to me stood out when he said in his press conference that it was a wake up call. I mean, that's just, you can't go into a game when you think you're going to face Sam Darnold and think it's going to be a cakewalk. I mean, he
yeah.
proved that yesterday. He's,
Yeah.
I mean,
Here's the thing about Sam Darnold. He's never been on a good team except for us, and he was a backup. So now he's on a team with the best wide receiver in the league, and a pretty good OC. Um, you know, Justin Jefferson. He's the best. I don't care what anybody says. That guy is amazing. So Sam Darnold not only has weapons, but he also has knowledge from Brock Purdy. They were talking. I think it was like a little clip during the game. They're showing them talking and showing that he learned a lot from Brock Purdy. You learn a lot from Brock Purdy, you're going to be good. And
yeah, he
I
used
was
to,
wrong about him. Yeah, I thought he was going to be trash this year, but I started thinking about it. I was like, you know what? Sam Darnold's never been on a good team. Now he's on a good team, and look at what he's doing.
yeah, let's talk about it. Let's go to the giant elephant in the room. The defense on that play gave up a 97-yard touchdown. Both safeties were out of position, and the pass rush, mostly yesterday, other than Nick Bosa, and one, I guess they called it a sack by Yetur Gross-Matos. They were non-existent yesterday.
Yeah,
They weren't. There wasn't a presence. He had tons of time to throw, and the Niners play that zone defense that if you don't get any pass rush, you're going to get carved the hell up, and that's exactly what happened. Um, I saw a little bit of an overreaction by Kyle. I mean, immediately right after that play, I know Odom, I think, was benched and they put in Mustafa. You wonder if the same thing's going to happen with Renardo Green because Isaac Yadam played absolutely horrendous yesterday. He couldn't cover
Horrible.
anything at any point of the game. So defense surprised me how porous they played. They really got pushed around with the run too. They were getting trapped inside as runs were going to the outside, and it kept happening over and over and over again. So, so far, not so good for the Nick Sorensen led defense. They have some serious things that they have to do in order to clean that mess up because it doesn't look great right now whatsoever. Again, it's only week 2. The season isn't over yet, so we have plenty of time to freak out over the last the last 15 games. I think the Niners are still talented enough to go out there and win games in the National Football League. There's no excuse. This is going to be the first time that Brock Purdy is going to be without Debo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey. That's a big deal. But Brandon Ayuk, time to step up. I mean, I don't have to say step up to Juwan Jennings because he's been stepping up. He's been a constant so far this season. And we got to keep running the ball as good as we possibly can. I mean, it's not undoable to still, go on a winning stretch even with all these guys missing. I don't think the Niners are. It's going to be a true test of Brock Purdy. If a lot of people want to get on Brock for having all these weapons and all these things at his disposal. Well, now he's going to get a taste of what it's like to have just a couple weapons and a couple of and some guys that aren't that great on offense or some guys that aren't as experienced on offense. So it's put up or shut up time. I have all the confidence in the world that he's going to do fine. But it's still, it's going to be difficult, and the Niners are going to have to find a way to scheme up some things to get other guys open so that this offense can flow and score points.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot different. Here's the thing about week 1 and week 2. Everything was different. Our first week, our run defense was great. Our guys were making catches, stuff like that. The defense looked pretty good. They were all over, Aaron Rodgers in the run game. This week, complete opposite. Our defensive linemen were getting pushed off. I don't know if you saw it was Leonard Floyd coming at the tackle, Neal, and Neal pushed him to the ground twice. I mean, that is not how we play defense. I mean, he was just getting shoved. So I don't know what happened, if it's because it was an away game or if they didn't get enough rest or what, but the defense was just not the same as week 1. I think our offense was good this week too, just like
Yeah, we
week
can move
1.
the
But
ball.
yeah, we can move the ball. 316 yards by Purdy. I mean, and that interception was kind of a fluke. So I think we just need red zone. We need big plays in red zone. That's the main thing we got to work on.
And I feel like we have red zone guys in Juwan Jennings and Kittle. I feel like they're
Yep.
both capable of scoring in the red zone. I don't see an issue with that. The pass rush of the Vikings got 6 sacks yesterday. The Niners' offensive line played
Horrible.
very porous, very, very porous,
That's
including
another
Trent
thing.
Williams. Trent
Yep.
Williams didn't play well either. These holdouts, man, they affect you. They affect you because you're not ready for game reps. And it's been obvious with guys like Ayuk and Trent Williams, Trent more so this week, and Ayuk the first 2 weeks, that you got to be in camp. You got to get your wind. You know what I mean? Like just like anybody who's hasn't worked in a while and has been say on disability or something, and they go back to work. Those first couple weeks are hell, right? Because your body's not used to getting up and going to work and
Yep.
doing all the stuff, and you've been sitting home, getting fat, drinking coffee every morning, and recovering from like surgery or something. I know I've dealt with it a couple times, and it's like your body's just not ready for the grind, and that's just normal people doing a normal 9 to 5. Athletics is amplified by a million, right? Sure
Yep.
enough, he played poor yesterday. Ayuk played absolutely non-existent football. But But is it really a surprise, James? I mean, they both missed all of camp and just made it in time for week one. Like it was that bad. So like for them to be struggling, both of them, especially Ayuk, isn't a surprise.
No, it's not. Um, you can see Ayuk. I mean, he's not catching balls. That ball in the end zone in week one he missed. He would have made that last year. Um, there's a few other catches. Yeah, I think he had a missed catch this week too. Trent Williams looks like he's off balance, which shows that he's not been, working out as much. His lower body's probably not as strong. Guys are just catching him on the edge too. I saw this one play by their edge rusher where he just ran right by him, and Trent just stood there. And usually Trent, what he's so good at usually is he slants to the left a little bit and he gets that edge. This time he didn't. He wasn't quick enough, and that just shows he's not like on his toes, waiting for that edge. He was more worried about the inside, which is not his job. The inside is his job sometimes, but most of the time, it's that guy coming off the edge. So yeah, they don't look right. Um,
They look like
like I
guys that
said,
haven't practiced together.
yeah, and Debo looks great, 110 yards, and Kittle looks great. All these guys that were in practice, went to preseason games, stuff like that. So I think we should have ran the ball more too in this game.
Yeah,
I
they
think
came
we
out pass
ran,
happy, which was
yeah,
really odd.
yeah, and
There was a
Jordan
lot of
Mason,
passing early. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, and Jordan Mason 100 yards again and a touchdown. Let's see if he got 10 more carries. Maybe he had 150 yards, and
Right.
we would have got another touchdown. That would have won the game. So we should
Yeah,
have
when
ran
it
that
comes
ball.
to run blocking, the 49ers do an incredible job, but once again, in pass blocking, it's another story. Now, this Minnesota Vikings team is very multiples in their fronts, the way they attack the quarterback. Okay, so I mean, Brock struggled, the offensive line struggled. They have a good defensive scheme, and their defensive scheme works really well for what they like to do. So, props to them. They played a really good defensive game, but the Niners, like I said, we've both said it. A lot of the stuff that we're seeing as an issue is not a surprise, considering that these guys came in late and weren't ready, and they didn't play in the preseason. So it's not a surprise that guys are struggling. They weren't. None of this team wasn't together in training camp. Like the whole team, the full starting roster as far as on offense wasn't together. So to see them having these issues, guys look like they're gassed. They got to go get IVs and stuff. Like it's not a surprise. Brandon Ayuk just looks like he's in a zombie mode right now. You know what I mean? Because he's probably tired as hell. He's probably not ready for any of this right now, and that's his own fault. He said it when they talked to him that maybe he was responsible for the length of the end of the holdout. So it's unfortunate, you lose a Super Bowl and guys get paid and it's like a really weird off season. It's like you as a fan, you're like, yeah, they're getting paid, but they didn't win. So you have all this like kind of animosity towards them a little bit. Um,
Yep.
and it's kind of working out so far to be one of those seasons that's like all the bad juju that we carried from the end of that Super Bowl till now is starting to kind of manifest itself in different things. So, but like I said, it's such a long season. Um,
Yeah.
Anything can happen. I still, like I said, I think offensively and defensively they have enough talent. They just got to figure some things out. One thing they got to figure out is their safety situation when Hofung is ready to come back. Who's back there? Is it Jair? Is it going to be Mustafa? Is Renardo Green going to get time at the slot corner, considering how bad Isaac Yadam played yesterday? What do we got to do to get the pass rush? I mean, it was like I said, other than Bosa and Yetur Gross Matos and his sack that they called the sack when they whistled the play dead from the intentional grounding. There was really nothing. There was really
Yeah.
nothing. So they have a lot of things to work on, but it's all stuff that can be fixed. And it's just a matter of like, do these guys do they have it this year? Do they have like the drive to go chase the dragon again like they have the last couple of years? It's so far it doesn't look like it, but like I said, it's going to be a long season and we don't really know. But that grind to get back to the Super Bowl and to win games and all that stuff, it's tough. And so far, it looks like it's going to be a way tougher road than we could have even imagined. So, but again, a lot of time, a lot of season left. I'm not panicking yet. There's too many good players on this team to sit there and have fans be thrown in the towel after 2 weeks. I think that's a sign of ignorance and a sign of stupidity that you're able to give up that quickly. One thing that the Niners did really bad yesterday is third downs. Let's see. They gave up 7 of 12 opposition's third downs. So yesterday, essentially, when it was third down, it was first down. Like they couldn't get off the field. And that was a
Yeah.
major problem yesterday. The Niners' third down defense, for whatever reason, even last year, there were stretches where they just can't get off the field on third down. It could be like 3rd and 21, and for some reason they gave up 22 yards. Like, I don't know exactly what it is. Like, if there's a disconnect between the back end and the defensive line, but third down defense has been atrocious. You got to get teams off the field, man. You can't have these long ass drives that wear your defense down. But that's exactly what happened yesterday. Really, really frustrating to watch for sure.
Yeah, I think on top of that, it's like it usually is a long third down, and for some reason we just let it happen. It's always these, it's always because their quarterback has enough time,
Yeah,
and I get it. I don't think Sorensen wants to blitz heavy, which I agree with because we do blitz heavy, and that's why we do get a lot of third down conversions against us. So I don't know what the solution is. I think we need another guy in the middle that is good at coverage other than Warner because it's always a pass in the middle or a pass off to the side a little bit in the middle of the zone. This zone coverage too, it's killing me. It's like if you're gonna play zone coverage, at least play close to the guy. Don't give him 5 yards of space so he can run away.
you got to get
You know?
when you play zone defense, you have to get pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
have to
and
get
we're
pressure
not.
on the quarterback.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
play
guys are just
man.
going to sit down in zones and it's like pitch and catch. And it's exactly pretty. I mean, let's give him credit though. He was throwing some dimes yesterday
Yeah,
at quarterback. But yeah, the zone defense to me works when the pass rush and it are in unison. They're working together. When they're not working together, it's pitch and catch out there. It's this is the guy that they wanted on defense, right? The defensive coordinator. They had this whole problem with Steve Wilkes last year. He was the scapegoat of the Super Bowl, right? We lost the Super Bowl because Steve Wilkes was a bad D coordinator. Well, now you got your guy in Nick Sorensen. So what's your excuse now? Like, that's the one thing about these players that Kyle listens to the players. He's got a group of players on the team that are like they call them the Cabo clique. They all go on vacation in the offseason together, but he listens to them and he makes decisions based on what they think because they're like the nucleus. They're vetted players. They've been around a long time. They got who they wanted on defense, and yesterday they played absolutely heartless, uh, uninspired defense all game long. So I don't know what else needs to be done for them to figure out a way to kind of reclaim what they used to be. And my buddy Kevin, he's a big, tall guy. He's a Rochester native too. He says, I got nothing to contribute here, but just wanted to say, what's up, Aaron? And I'm pissed about Debo missing time for my fantasy league. Hey, we all have different reasons why we're pissed that Debo's hurt. You have fantasy football stuff, and I'm pissed because the Niners offense already looks anemic, and now we take away one of our best players. So, but thanks for coming through, big man. He's a Dolphins fan like my brother.
oh, even worse.
I'm feeling for them, man. That's just
Yeah,
if there's one team,
poor
if
Tua,
there's
dude.
if there's one team, if we are not going to do something this year that I would love to see get to a Super Bowl and win it, it's Miami,
Yeah,
100%. Not just because it's
oh,
my brother's team, but Kevin himself is a big Miami Dolphins fan for life. His brother is a Cowboys fan, so he's having his own issues too. We're all depressed right now after 2 weeks. We don't know what the hell is going on. So I don't know,
We're
man.
all
Like
messed up.
it could everything could be worse. I mean, like I said, it's still a long season. We have a lot of football left in front of us. Um, what was I going to put up here? So let's uh we have some PFF stuff that I want to put up. So here are the PFF numbers yesterday for 49ers defensive players. Fred Warner, of course, 95.8. Diamador Lenore played amazing, 81.8. Nick Bosa, 7, what is it, 78.5. Jordan Elliott, 69.6. Devondre Campbell, 64.3. And Renardo Green, not a big surprise either. Bosa and Fred Warner were the two that stood out the most, and everybody else just did shit yesterday. It was bad. Offensively, we got Debo Samuel. Again, we're gonna miss him for a couple weeks. An 81.6. Trent Williams, I don't know what they were watching. An 80.5. George Kittle played well yesterday. 78.3. Eric Saubert, he did pretty well yesterday. And Jordan Mason, of course. So these are all not big surprises that they scored well on the PFF grades. But anything else that really stood out to you yesterday that just really pissed you off, or something that you were looking at that maybe could be a positive just based on what we saw yesterday?
Well, negative is just the red zone offense. I really think that's a huge problem because McCaffrey was our red zone guy. A positive, I'd say, is Jordan Mason, and also that Nick Bosa got 2 sacks. Nick Bosa was getting some pressure, there, and I think just Jordan Mason in general. It's crazy that this guy is an undrafted player who we've all had faith in. We've seen him play,
Yeah, for
in
the
the
last
fourth
couple
quarter.
seasons. Yep.
Yeah, and he always does good when it's fourth quarter and we're killing a team, and we would just throw him in there, and he'd run these like 20-yard runs, and we'd be like, holy crap, he's pretty good. Maybe we'll see him one day, and now we see him. So I think Kyle's got to do that. There's that stat that I think it's 25 or 35 carries. When we get 25 or 35, I can't remember which number it
It's
is. I
it's
think
in carries. It's almost around 40 that we
yeah.
usually win the
So
game.
yeah, we got to get that 35 carries because we'll win. I mean, if we get 35 carries, we will win. And I think we're lucky that we're playing the Rams next because they're just not looking too great.
We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see. We thought about that with this team coming in playing Sam Darnold and stuff, that Jordan Addison was out, you know
yeah,
friggin' Justin Jefferson went out in this game at one point. They didn't have him either, and we still couldn't beat them.
yeah,
So all this stuff where like fans are like, "Oh, we're gonna have this advantage because these guys aren't playing." We'll see. The Niners,
yeah.
for some reason, I don't know if you noticed this, and what Bosa said in the press conference was alarming. They take teams lightly. Like they
They
go into
do.
games mentally like not focused to play as hard as they possibly could. For
They
him to
do.
say that they need a wake up call in week 2, like why?
Yeah,
You went into this game really thinking, and then Diamador Lenore was talking about who had the advantage, him or Darnold, and he was, it was playful banter. It wasn't like anything ill willed or whatever. Oh, and
yep. The cat hit my phone.
and it didn't happen. He played amazing, and the Niners defense played like trash.
Yeah,
I saw something on Facebook or Twitter. It could have been Facebook. It doesn't matter. Somebody literally put the 49ers window has closed and that it's over. We're not going to win anymore. Like we might as well give up, reboot the team.
I don't know.
What do you say to fans like that? Should they turn in their fan card? I mean, I just
Have
find that
you
to be
have you
absolutely
ever
ridiculous.
watched football? Like, have you ever watched football? That's all I would say because there's been teams that are 0-4 to start the season and they make the friggin' playoffs.
Yep.
It's week 2, people relax. Like, I think it's just like to start drama and shit. I don't know. I think people just want to start. Oh my God. I don't think most people that do that are true Niner fans because it's like if you were in the years when we sucked, you knew our season was over. By week 8, you didn't judge it by week 2. You knew we sucked, but we still were like, all right, maybe we still can somehow. This guy can just start killing it, and maybe we'll get the wild card. But that's at least how I felt. I'd always wait till like at least week 8, and then I'd be like, all right, we're done. So it's still early. We still got tons of weapons on our team. Just gotta kind of mesh together. That's all. Purdy still had a hell of a game. So the some of the passes Purdy threw yesterday were unbelievable. I mean,
Yeah.
there was one pass where there was no way that most quarterbacks in the league could make that pass. He just made it. I think it was the one to Jawan, and it was like on his left side, and it was like the guy was right there on him, and he still made that. Or no, it was Debo, and he threw it perfectly. Like
Yeah.
if he threw it a little lower, that would have been an interception. But he
The
threw
one,
it
one
perfectly.
Kyle Juszczyk too.
Yeah, Kyle, yeah, that was
Scrambling
perfect.
throws where he's able to find guys on the sideline and keep plays moving.
Yep.
People don't look at him as that kind of guy because he's so much smaller than everybody else.
Yeah.
But he's sneaky athletic for his size and being small as he is. And I
Yeah.
think people like to overlook that because they see a couple bad throws and they just automatically assume, well, the 49ers can't do much. Uh he's the one that's holding them back. I don't think he's holding them back. Does he
He-
have a couple throws yesterday that did he wishes he had back? Absolutely. Every quarterback does. And he's still
Yeah.
young. For the most
Yeah.
part, he plays really, really well all the time. His offensive line was crumbling around him yesterday. They couldn't stop a cold. So you can credit.
Here's another thing. At least we're not the Panthers.
Oh man, Bryce Young looks.
Oh, they lost to what?
That's
They got destroyed the first game and then destroyed the second game. I think they've scored like 3 points or something in the last two
yeah.
games.
If everybody wants to really be depressed, go be a
Yeah,
Panthers fan.
yeah,
The
yeah,
49ers, even at a damaged as goods as they are right now, are still a way better team than the Carolina Panthers could ever dream to be. And they
uh,
have added talent over the last couple off seasons. I feel for that fan base.
yeah,
I do. I just don't think Bryce Young has what it takes size wise. I
yeah.
just
He's
don't
way
think
too
he's as
small.
skilled as a lot of people thought he was. And that's too bad. But 49ers got their own problems, so I'm not really too concerned about Panthers. I'm just saying, hey, I guess it
Yeah.
would suck. It could be
At
worse.
least we're not them.
Yeah, it's early in the season. Some teams are struggling. I mean, look at the Baltimore Ravens. They're 0-2. Does anybody think for the life of them that Baltimore is going to miss the playoffs and have a continually bad season all year with John
No.
Harbaugh as their coach and Lamar Jackson as their quarterback? No, they'll find a way. They might not do anything in the playoffs, but they're going to find a way to get back. Same thing with the Rams. I think the Rams are going to be okay down the stretch. They might have to fight to get some wins early in the season. But I just think with teams that have really good established coaches and some key players, that they can find a way to will themselves to play better. I just think the Niners, I feel like they went into yesterday's game with an expectation that they were just going to walk into Minnesota and take care of business. When Bosa says that
Um,
we needed a wake up call, that tells me that they went into that game and they didn't have the proper focus. They were dancing and doing all this other dumb stuff, in the hallway before the game. You saw the video, Debo, Brent Williams doing all that silly stuff. Like, really? Like,
yeah,
it's a business trip. You're on the road to take care of business. But I mean, both of those guys have gotten paid in the last couple of years. So I don't think I mean, damn, they really love football, but they're both also really been paid very well too. So I don't know. The vibe's kind of weird right now. Things are a little off, but for the life of me, I really think that they could still stay afloat. If you look at their schedule, they play the Patriots, they play the Rams. They got some games in there with the division that they should be able to win. Cardinals look like a really good team this year so far. So
yeah, they
far.
do.
So, and I had a feeling that was going to happen. Just having Marvin Harrison Jr. Their quarterback is back. He's healthy. So, but that's again, it's 2 games. You have to keep reiterating that to yourself that it's 2 games. There's a ton of season left. A lot of things can change. Me and my brother were talking about that yesterday. That to pass any judgment or to call anything officially, official with 2 weeks into the season is just asinine because
Yeah.
players can get hurt and the seasons are over. So, I mean, I'm at the point right now where I'm concerned with the 49ers and what they're able to do so far this season, but I still think like their coach is great. Their front office GM is good. They have enough leaders on that team, players that play well. They can will themselves to figure out a way to win some games down some players. They have, like I said, Juwan Jennings is there, Ayuk is there, uh, George Kittle's there. If these young guys want to come and make a name for themselves in the NFL, they need to start. Now, Jacob Cowing, I know you botched that uh, punt return yesterday. Whatever, get on the offensive side of the ball and see and get open and try to make some plays for Brock Purdy. And Ricky, man, I feel so bad for Ricky Parasol because I feel like the injury to Debo would feel less severe if a guy like him was playing already and playing well. That we
Oh yeah.
wouldn't be as like dramatically like, oh my God, I can't believe this because he might have shown something. So, I mean, we're not bereft of talent. We talked about how deep we were in the offseason, right, James?
Yep.
Now we're testing that. Do you want to test the depth? No, but we are. We're testing that depth right now.
Yep. And we have plenty of it. So, but let's not test it. I don't want any more injuries.
I know. As much as I love
No
depth on the
more
team, I
injuries.
don't really want to test it. Exactly.
No.
Oh boy. I'm trying to think what else. I mean, we've pretty much nailed it. Oh, let's talk about our special teams. The block
Yeah.
punt. That was
Horrible.
unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Horrible. The guy just ran right up the middle.
Yeah.
Right up the middle. Nobody blocked him.
49ers are in midseason form when it comes to their special teams. If there's one bugaboo that this franchise has had, even with John Kyle being here, has been special teams.
Yeah.
Whether it's returning, kick coverage or punt blocks or kickers missing kicks. Um,
Always
you know,
something.
always something with special teams. It went back to the Harbaugh years too with
Yeah. Richie
Kyle,
James.
yeah,
Richie
Kyle
James dropping
Williams.
that ball.
Just another one of those things that you can, another feather in your cap of things that you can bitch and complain about early this week before we play the Rams. The Rams are down, like I said. This is going to be an opportunity to take advantage of their injuries. Cooper Cup not playing. Puka Nakua not playing. What are you going to do, Niners?
They don't have Aaron Donald either anymore,
Yeah,
which is great. They did draft 2 defensive linemen though, and they're very good. So they basically got 2 for 1. I mean, it's still not adding up to Aaron Donald. So I'm very happy Aaron Donald's gone. He was a monster.
but he
And
never affected us because we had I forgot the
oh
name of the
yeah,
offensive lineman that he was
well
used
he,
to go up against.
well he did in the biggest game against them.
Yeah, when
You
they
know,
had to make their run to the Super Bowl. Yeah, he played amazing in
yeah,
that game, of course.
yeah. So
Um, I definitely think the Niners were out coached yesterday. That was kind of the big thing going on Twitter. Uh, Kyle with questionable calls, like we talked about, too much passing of the ball instead of running the ball. Um, it just hold on a second. Yeah, it wasn't a surprise. Kyle just I don't know, man. Like the Niners to get into this thing where they're pass happy and they keep trying to force with a round hole and square peg into a round hole. They're a better team when they run the football. The Niners are not built offensively to be a drop back passing team. That's just not the way that they are built through the draft or through how they build their team. Miami Dolphins have the same issue. When their run game is going really well, their pass game is exceptional. When they can't run the ball and guys have to stand back there and throw the ball 60 times, they really suffer. And I think that's one of the biggest issue with the Niners. They're not built like other teams to have a drop back passing game where you throw it 60 times. This team
yep,
is offense is predicated on running the football a lot. And they did still run for over 100 yards yesterday, but it just didn't feel like it, right?
yeah. It I don't know. I think Jordan had 17 carries, which doesn't seem like a lot. I might be wrong on that number, but I think it was 17. Yeah, I mean, he had 100 yards, but it was like he was getting yards when we didn't need it. Like it was like second down or third down, and then we still didn't get the third down conversion. I don't know what our third down conversion was, but it wasn't.
It wasn't
Excuse
very
me.
well. I didn't
It
I didn't
wasn't
jot
good.
it down, but it was really bad
It wasn't
yesterday.
good.
Third down conversions was
Yeah,
pathetic.
it wasn't good, and I don't know. I think we need that's another place we need to step up is the backup to Jordan Mason. Excuse me, choking. I think Rendo came in a little bit, but
Yeah, he got stonewalled on that one play, and a lot of people were
yeah, he
breaking.
did. He did, and maybe he needs to step it up, get a 1-2 punch. Kind of.
I'm surprised
We'll
they didn't
see
have
what happens
Patrick
with that.
Taylor come into the game after that, but they brought in
Yeah,
Durendo instead.
yeah. I think they're set
Uh,
on Rendo.
not. I don't feel real good about the team right now, but like I said, there's a lot of football season left. They play the Rams. They got the Patriots coming to town, I think,
Yep.
or they go to New England. I'm not sure. I mean, they got some winnable games coming in the next couple weeks. Like I can bring it up right now. Let me bring up the schedule. Um, hold on a second here. All right. So they got the Rams, the Cardinals. Oh wait, hold on. Where am I here? I'm and the Saints look really good. Oh no. Hold on. All right. They have the Rams, the Patriots, the Cardinals, Seahawks, and then the Chiefs.
Yep.
So Rams should be winnable. Patriots should be winnable. The Cardinals, we host them, and then the Seahawks. I think we have the ability, not saying we're going to, but we have the ability to win the next 4 games,
Yeah.
which would make us 5-1, right?
Yep. Seattle looks pretty good, and what surprised me about their game is that Geno Smith had 370 yards passing, and he was like his QB rating was ridiculous. I don't know what I don't know how to feel about Geno Smith because some games he is unbelievably good, and then some games he's horrible. He hasn't been good against us, but um, I like for me, out of anybody in the West, I'm kind of worried about them because here's the thing: Cardinals are good too, but they Kyler's way too wishy washy, and they only
Well, see,
have Marvin
I feel the
Harrison.
same way about Geno.
Yeah,
I think he's wishy washy.
yeah, but here's the thing: Gino has a lot of weapons.
He
He has
does.
Lockett, he has Metcalf, he has that Charbonnet guy, the backup running back. That guy is good. And then Kenneth Walker comes back. They're stacked, and they got the Smith and Jibba, whatever his name is. I think that game will be a hard one, but yeah, yeah, we're definitely can go 5-1 easily if we stay playing like we did in week 1 with good defensive line, good offensive line. That's really what it comes down to, and good safeties.
You're right. The lines of scrimmage in both games were both dominated by were the reason why a team won and lost. Week 1, we
Yep.
dominated the line of scrimmage, pass blocking, even though we gave up a couple sacks. Most of those were just coverage sacks. And running the ball, we pushed them off the line of scrimmage. And then this past week, their offensive line bullied our defensive line, and their defensive line bullied our offensive line. And it's the line of scrimmage really is where you make your money, right? So the
Yep.
Packers really got to get back to, they built their team, they build their teams in San Francisco from the defensive line out, offensive line out, and so they got to go back to being, pounding the ball, running the ball, and giving Brock some play action and getting him ability to make easy, easy throws, uh, check downs, stuff that like can get guys confidence back. But both offensive and defensive line have to play way better. I think they played amazing in week 1. They didn't get a ton of heat on Aaron Rodgers, but they got enough of heat on Aaron Rodgers in week 1 to affect some throws. And then like I said, the offensive line in that game, their defensive line was pushed into the secondary. they still ran the ball relatively well. We ran the ball relatively well. We just couldn't convert on third down and make big throws when we needed them. And that was with everybody on the field, everybody healthy. And now we're not going to have certain guys playing, so it's going to be even more of a onus put on third down conversion and getting the ball moved down the field and score touchdowns instead of field goals. Um, I think a game against the Cardinals is going to be difficult, but I think we're better than the Cardinals. I think we're better than the Seahawks. Right now with the Rams, I thought we were going to be equal with them this year. They got injuries, we got injuries, so who's it going to affect more? I mean, they're at home, I guess you could say, but we usually run that place and take over their stadium. So the season isn't over yet, but you got to see some improvement in the next couple weeks. You got to see that the arrow is pointing in the up direction, and they have a chance to do it. Like Debo's not gone for the whole season; he's only gone for a couple weeks. This is an important time to hopefully see if other guys can step up. Like for instance, we have Jacob Cowing, and then maybe soon to be Ricky Parasol. Guys got to step up. They have opportunities to do something with this team and make plays, and they got to make plays when they have the opportunity. Again, we talked all about the depth all off season and how deep this team is, and now the Niners are going to test that, and hopefully it reaps its benefits because we've been nauseatingly talking about it and beating people over the head with the fact that we have this deep team, and now we're gonna test it. Got to see if it's going to be anything. But I feel like the Rams are gettable just based on their injuries. I mean, their top two wide receivers are down. Their offensive line isn't playing all that great. So Niner fans, how you feeling? And Niner players, Bosa said you guys needed a wake-up call. Are you awake? Are you ready?
Yeah. Yeah, I think this game's a big one.
It is.
Definitely.
They're
It's a
all
huge
big,
one.
man. They're
Yeah.
all big. I wouldn't say it's a must-win. I mean, the Niners, even as a wild card team, can be dangerous.
Yeah.
They proved last year that being number one seed was actually a detriment to the way that they played in both the divisional and the championship game. So it's sometimes to me it seems like it's overrated getting all the
Yeah.
rest. I felt they were rusty and played horribly in those two games, and then they had to turn it on at the end. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It looks like me and you are going to start doing post game Mondays,
Yeah.
from what I heard, because Bashar wants to do something on a different day, maybe Tuesdays. So we're going to be the Monday. We're going to be the Monday stream. We were going to be the end of the week
Sounds
stream, but
good.
we're going to change it
Go.
up. Seems like you're
Making
available.
Yeah. Make Mondays great again,
Make Mondays great again. Yeah. Now everybody's going to be, what? You just, but yeah, we're going to get out of here. Everybody have a great rest of your Monday.
All
And
right.
hopefully when we see you again next week, we'll be talking about a 49ers victory and going 2-1. Talk to
Yeah.
everyone later. See ya.
See you later. Go Niners.